My mom spent 30 years demanding a grandson from me, so I made sure she'll spend her last 10 in a prison cell. Growing up, I was the fourth daughter in a family that only ever wanted one son. Mom kept a blue knitted blanket folded in a cedar chest at the foot of her bed, waiting for the grandson she believed she was owed. Dad died when I was 9, and after that the pressure got worse, because now a grandson was the only way to carry his name forward. When I was 12, Mom caught me filling a notebook page with baby names. Every name on the page was a girl's name. She tore the page out and wrote a single name across a fresh sheet. Walter, she said. After your grandfather. When you have your son, this is his name. I just nodded, not even sure what I was agreeing to. From then on, every boy I brought home got the same quiet interrogation. How many brothers do you have? I dated a guy in college who was one of 5 boys, and Mom smiled at me for the first time in years. Strong line, she said, like she was inspecting livestock. Then I met Grant. Grant was patient and steady and made me laugh until I couldn't breathe. He was also an only child. When I told Mom, her face went flat. An only child, she repeated. Well, we will see. We got married anyway, then I got pregnant. At my baby shower, in front of 30 guests, we announced we were having a girl. Mom stood up, walked to the gift table, picked up the bag she had brought, and carried it out the front door without a word. She didn't call for 4 months. I gave birth to my daughter Sadie with only Grant beside me. 2 years later, I was pregnant again, and the ultrasound showed a boy. Suddenly, my phone was ringing. Mom was crying, apologizing, saying she wanted to be part of our lives. I believed her because I wanted to. When my son Owen was born, she transformed. Visits every week, bags of gifts, offers to babysit, but the gifts were always for Owen. The attention was always for Owen. Sadie spent an afternoon making Grandma a birthday card with glitter and glue. A week later, I found it in Mom's recycling bin, still sealed in its envelope. 3 weeks before everything fell apart, I found out Mom had left 4-year-old Sadie buckled in her car seat in the driveway for almost an hour while she took Owen inside for his nap. It was October and cold. She was sleeping. I didn't want to wake her. Mom said that was a lie. Sadie told me she cried until her voice went scratchy. I should have banned her from my house that day. I wish I had. I came home early on a Thursday. The babysitter's car wasn't there. Mom's was. I walked in and found her at the kitchen table feeding Owen lunch. Where's Sadie? I asked. Mom didn't even look up. She kept whining that she was bored and interrupting Owen's lunch. I sent her to go play in the living room. I walked toward the living room. The house was too quiet. The first thing I saw was Mom's purse tipped over on the couch, its contents spilled across the cushions. Then her weekly pill organizer on the carpet, 4 compartments snapped open and empty. Then Sadie, curled up on the rug in her unicorn socks, eyes half closed, a white chalky smear on her lips. I said her name. She didn't lift her head. I said it louder, and her eyes rolled toward me like they weighed too much to move. I was dialing 911 with hands I couldn't control when Mom walked in holding Owen. Let her nap, she said, annoyed. She's just being dramatic for attention. She always is. I screamed at her to get out of my house. Sadie spent 2 nights in intensive care. It was blood pressure medication, enough to stop a grown man's heart, and my daughter weighed 34 pounds. The doctor said 20 minutes later, and we would have been planning a funeral. I filed the police report from the hospital waiting room. Mom was arrested the next morning, and the investigation showed I had told her 4 separate times, in writing, to keep her medication up high. Her lawyer called it a tragic accident, and Mom took the stand. Your Honor, she said, I would never let anything happen to Owen. He is the one who carries the family name. He is the one who matters. The courtroom went silent. The judge stared at her for a long moment. In 20 years on this bench, she said, I have rarely heard a grandparent speak of a grandchild with such contempt. She sentenced my mother to 10 years, the maximum allowed, for felony child endangerment. She's 73. She'll be 83 before she breathes free air again. Sadie woke up in the hospital asking if Grandma was mad at her. The night of the sentencing, I finally threw out that blue blanket, still folded the way it had spent 30 years waiting.